Hi guys, happy Friday. We are on PDF page 111 and we are at the bottom of the page, okay? So in the past few lessons, we've been multiplying and multiplying fractions and multiplying fractions with decimals, and now we're gonna move into dividing fractions actually. So now we're switching it up a little and it's actually super easy. No GCF right now, nothing crazy. So I think you guys should be really good with this. I'm excited to see how you guys do. So the first question that we're gonna go into, and I want you to watch this video and the second video because the second video is something different, so you still need to watch it. It says divide, then multiply to check. So this is on the chart. And A says 5 divided by 1/2. So I'm gonna start by drawing a tape diagram of 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have 5, and then I'm going to divide it by 1/2. I'm going to divide 5 into 1/2. So I'm going to divide each of these into 1/2. And now all I do is count the pieces. So how many pieces are left? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 5 divided by 1/2 is equal to 10. And we have to check our work by multiplying. So when they say 5 divided by 1/2, they're actually saying 5 times 2. I know that sounds crazy, but this is what you're gonna do when you see something like this, a fraction or a whole number divided by a fraction. When you're dividing fractions, you do the keep, the change, and then a flip. So a keep, change, flip. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you keep the first number, okay? You keep the first factor. You change the division sign into multiplication, and then you flip the last factor that's a fraction. So you're gonna flip it. So I kept 5. I changed my division symbol into multiplication, and I flipped 1/2 to make it 2 over 1, which is actually 2. So keeping, changing, and then flipping, okay? So 5 times 2, and we know 5 times 2 is 10, and that's our answer. So that's how we check with multiplication. We can double check by taking our second factor, which is 1/2. So by taking our second factor, 1/2, and multiplying it by the answer that we got, so 10, or 10 over 1, and that would equal 10, because 1 times 10 is 10, and then 2 times 1 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's our check. So the factor times the answer is also going to equal 5, our other factor. So now that we checked, let's move on to a different one. So we got to keep, flip, and then change. So I'm also going to draw this one out too, because that might help people. And okay, so I have 3 divided by 1/2. So I'm going to break my diagram up into 3 pieces. And then just like I did before, I'm going to use orange this time. I'm going to divide each piece into 2 pieces. So now 3 divided by 1/2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how do we check that? Well, 3 divided by 1/2 is also equal to keep the 3, change, so 3 times, and then flip 2. And 3 times 2 is 6. And now to check our work, we're going to take that the second factor, so 1/2 again, times our answer, which is 6, over 1, or a whole 6, is equal to 1 times 6 is 6, and then 2 times 1 is 2. And 6 over 2, or 6 divided by 2, is 3, our first factor. So we know that we did that right. Okay, so this next one's a little different. It says 4 divided by 1/5. So these numbers are a little higher, or 1/5 is more pieces. It'll be more pieces than just into half. So I don't really want to draw that one, so I'm just going to do, I know 4 divided by 1/5 is equal to 4 times 5. Okay, because I'm keeping 4, flipping the sign, or changing the sign and flipping the fraction to make it 5. And 4 times 5 we know is 20. And then I know you can't see me, so 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to check. I'm going to take our second factor, which is 1/5. And then I'm going to multiply it by our answer, which is 20, or 20 over 1. And that equals 1 times 20 is 20. And 5 times 1 is 5. And 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. So we know we got the right answer. Okay? So if you wanted to draw that diagram, whatever you feel comfortable with, or whatever makes you understand it better, but when we divide fractions, we need to keep the first number, change the sign, and flip the second factor. Okay? So you will do another chart like this for your homework, and I want to see the work so I know that you're checking your answer. And then in the next video, we're going to do a word problem. All right.